Hi everyone, good morning. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mithilesh and you can call me GS Helper. I am here to talk about
of receipt of people through force, fraud or deception. So this is what is called as human trafficking. So this is done with the aim of exploiting a person or people for narrow profits. So this is a crime in India and it occurs in every region of the world. In this, men, women and children of all ages and from all backgrounds can become victims, and the perpetrators are known as traffickers who often use violence or fraudulent means and fake promises of education and job opportunities to trick and coerce their victims. And most often this crime is committed to obtain some type of labor or some type of commercial sexual exploitation. See, when it is done for sexual exploitation, human trafficking is referred to as sex trafficking. Alright, but human trafficking largely remains a hidden crime because the victims are transported to different countries and they face language barriers and then fear of their traffickers and the fear of law enforcement to keep victims from seeking any help. So as we can see, the TIP is a social evil and it needs to be removed from our society with zero tolerance. In this regard, a well-intended legislation of TIP bill has been a welcome move to abolish trafficking. Alright, so this bill is not something new in our country. Our society already has provisions which prohibits trafficking. The first and foremost is the Constitution of India. So, trafficking in human beings or persons is prohibited under Article 23(1) of our Constitution. So, it falls under the fundamental rights itself. That is Part 3. And apart from that, we have the bill of the Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act of 1956. And we also have the Criminal Law Amendment Act of 2013. Wherein the section 370 of the IPC was substituted and 370A of IPC, which provided for a comprehensive measure to counter the menace of human trafficking. Alright, and apart from that, we have the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. So this also recognizes trafficking. And apart from that, we have specific legislations enacted related to trafficking in women and children. This is Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, Bonded Labor System Abolition Act of 1976, the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986, and we also have the Transplantation of Human Organs Act of 1994, because some people have also been trafficked to harvest their organs, right? And apart from specific sections of IPC, example section 372 and 373, dealing with selling and buying of girls for the purpose of prostitution. So apart from that, some states have also enacted specific legislations to deal with the issue. For example, Punjab. So Punjab has the Punjab Prevention of Human Smuggling Act of 2012 to prevent the human trafficking, right? And in this long list, this bill is said to be a bright spot. So it is to prevent the trafficking in persons, especially women and children, to counter the trafficking incidents. And it also aims to provide for care, protection and rehabilitation to the victims of trafficking while respecting their rights and creating a supportive legal, economic and a social environment for them. Then it also aims to ensure prosecution of offenders. So let us see some of the positives of the bill. The first one is that it will apply to every offense of trafficking in persons with cross-border implications. So this is very important because what happens is a person from India is trafficked outside the country and the police find it very difficult to nab the culprit. So the existing legislations had this shortcoming and this legislation tries to bridge that shortcoming. So what does this mean? That means it has a wider scope and it will include offences taking place within India and also outside India. The next is that it envisages setting up of a National Anti-Human Trafficking Committee. See, this is very important. So this committee will be set up at the national level and also at the state level. And if you see, the National Anti-Trafficking Committee will ensure overall effective implementation of the Act, and which in turn will provide coordination as needed for prevention and countering these offences. And if you see, it will deal with matters related to victims such as their rescue, protection, medical care, psychological assistance, recovery, relief, rehabilitation, repatriation and reintegration. So this aspect also tries to fill the gap that was left by the previous set of legislations. Alright, but even though it has these bright spots, author believes that the bill lacks in handling the offence of traffic. How? In a way, the author has listed out the concerns with the bill. Let us look at it. See, the main concern is regarding the involvement of NIA. Right? See, as per the section 3 of the bill, NIA is the National Investigating and Coordinating Agency for these crimes. And they will be responsible for prevention and combating of the trafficking in persons and other offences as listed under the Act. And if you see, it will also investigate, prosecute and coordinate these cases. So it's a holistic role, right? So those who oppose this position of NIA argue that first, it would burden the agency further, the NIA, right? Second, it is an attack on the federalism, they say, because normally trafficking in persons cases are dealt with by the local police, and if the case is very tortuous, it is generally taken up by the CBCID, which is under the state. Now, since NIA is involved, it seems like these local enforcement agencies will not be playing any part. See, we all know the local law and order landscape is better understood by the local police, right? And diminishing their role and giving that role to a national investigating agency can prove regressive. So that is one criticism. Now, another criticism is that the bill has broad definitions of sexual exploitation. So as per the bill, if you see, the sexual exploitation means obtaining financial or other benefits through the involvement of another person in prostitution, sexual servitude or other kinds of sexual services. Alright? So due to this broad definition, critics argue that the bill also takes those into consideration who indulge in consensual commercial sexual activity, that is sex work or prostitution. So what does this mean? This means it would criminalize sex work, that is, even if the sex workers choose to work as a profession without any external coercion. Right? So because it is consensual, it is unfair to punish these people. Right? Because often sex workers are indulging in the activity due to many causative factors such as poverty, debt, lack of opportunities and others. So, if a sex work is criminalized without addressing the causative factors, then sex workers indulging in commercial sex due to their pathetic situation would be victimized further. Here, rather than saving them from servitude, government will end up punishing them. So, further, the definition also any pornographic material as sexual exploitation. So critics say that even the non-exploitative consensual pornographic material which is created for adult consumption will not be allowed at all. See, it has an implication on freedom of choice. Now, next criticism is that the bill aims to punish non-reporting of offences under the Act. For example, under the Act, the commercial carriers are required to report if any person attempts to or has travelled on a commercial carrier without the identity documents or travel documents. Okay. See, a commercial carrier means the one who engages in the transportation of goods or people for commercial gains. So they can be the truck services, they can be the travel agencies, right? So if the commercial carrier fails to report it, they shall be punished with a fine of up to 2 lakh rupees. So you can see how steep the fine is, right? So at one level, it is welcome that this provision ensures that the offences are mandatorily reported. All right, but the commercial carriers argue that most of the times the victims do not want to be reported. So what they do is they end up traveling without valid documents, especially when they escape from these perpetrators. So here the travel agencies, that is the commercial carriers, are being victimized, okay, in these specific circumstances. So there is another provision in the bill which is lauded by many but also criticized. It is nothing but the provision of death penalty for some form of crimes. See, death penalty is another huge contentious area which is good for another huge discussion. But here this bill provides for death penalty, and that is also very contentious. So on a whole, the act regarding TIP is the need of the hour, which is very essential because it fills a lacuna that has been left by the previous pieces of legislation. But it also needs to reconsider the contentious provisions and make them sensitive and precise. All the loose ends need to be tied up and the criticisms need to be addressed.
If you like the video, don't forget to like, share and do subscribe EduJet class for more information regarding GS.